All right, and we're back here. So last week I gave you guys a half page that had this information on it. I've got AI enhanced technology presentation. What I want you guys to do is get into Teams and create a 5-minute PowerPoint type presentation or similar equivalent. Prezi's fine, Google Slides is fine. If you guys know another program, it's kind of like those, that's okay too. Okay? On how one of the following either discoveries or technologies was either discovered or invented. Like, what's a little bit of the history behind it, the story, what was kind of the mechanism, how does this work, right? And how did that impact society? I gave you guys a whole list of options here. And let's go down this checklist. So you can use this thing as a rubric. I want you guys to use an AI program to create the initial presentation, which is going to be a good skill to have. Like, as of last year's super new technology, but like in the future, I think this is probably how a lot of people are going to do things. You just snap your fingers, you get something, and you can kind of go back and modify it, which is what I want you to do. So fact check each of the slides to guarantee accurate information. So that's going to be on you guys. Make sure that everything's actually accurate, right? Make any modifications necessary. Maybe the presentation that AI comes up with, you go through it and realize, that's not really where I even want to go with the story. Or maybe I was kind of interested in this or that detail, and maybe I want to tell AI, actually do it this way. Or maybe you actually go in and modify it yourself. It's perfectly okay to add your own slides or add your own text or add your own pictures that maybe AI didn't have in the first place because you want to go a little bit different place with the story. Again, also make sure that everything is actually accurate. Okay, so all that. Okay. If any images are produced by AI, which is also okay, but just make sure that you clearly label them as produced by AI, right? So that whoever's looking at your presentation knows, right, is this an actual photograph or is this just something a computer made up? Right? What are we looking at, right? On the final slide, include all the sources that you use to actually verify all your information. Also specify what program or programs did you use, right? Because all these programs are a little bit different. You have different inputs. So it's like, okay, what program actually created this in the first place, right? Because maybe different type software sets will create different presentations, right? Include team members' names in the presentation. And when you're finished, email your final presentation to, and there's my school email address right there. I'm going to give you guys a few days to work on this. Rest it today. Well, after I'm going to show you guys a model example right here. Right, and then rest it today, and then tomorrow and the next day, you guys can work with each other. And I'll have you guys present on Friday and Monday, and then the SAT is on Tuesday. All right, you guys got that? All right. So here's a model. Oh, I should tell you guys. 100% disclosure. I did not actually use an AI program. I just went old school on this, but I want you guys to have the skill of having AI do something, then you go back and edit it like you actually want it. Right? So I picked a technology that I did not give you because I want to do something a little bit different. Dishwasher. How does that work? And what's the history behind that? Okay. So how are dishes getting washed? Ooh, and I found this video. Ooh, do you guys want to see a clear dishwasher? What's going on inside a dishwasher? That's what's going on inside. It's actually just a real straightforward technology. All it is uh, there's these rotating paddles spraying water in all different directions. That's pretty much the basic premise of it, right? Now there's a little other details too, like throwing a little detergent that helps. If you superheat the water, that'll sanitize it. There's lots of other details too, but that's the basic premise: is you're just spraying water from all different directions. That's it. Yeah. Dishwasher. Okay. All right. I've got here's a different view of this. So you pump in water. These are like more efficient than just washing dishes by hand too. You actually save water and energy and time too, right? Also, you can get a cleaner wash by using super hot water that you wouldn't want to put your hands in, right? Because that would be scalding hot, right? So, but a machine can handle, right? Okay, so then this water is brought into these paddles. You spray the water in all different directions, and then the water collects in the bottom and then goes out the drain pipe. Boom. Right, that's it. Yeah. A little detergent, detergent dispenser. Right. All right, so I got some trivia questions for you guys. You guys ready to answer some trivia? Trivia? Yeah. All right, 2 questions. Let's see who's going to get these right. What year was the patent granted for the dishwasher? Now, there's some options. While you guys are thinking about this, I want to see show hands. I'm curious to see who's going to get this right. Right. So while you guys are thinking about that, I do want to add the detail that, like a lot of technologies, whatever year I'm going to claim for this, there are kind of some predecessor ideas that lead up to that, and then there's been some improvements in the meantime. But there is, I think, kind of a year you can point out to, like a specific patent and say that right there is like pretty much like the ancestor of modern day dishwashers. Where's this come from? Right. All right, you guys ready? Ready? All right, let's see. Show of hands. How many guys say A, 1886? Who says B, 1910? Ooh, a lot of hands on 1910. Who says C, 1922? All right, got it. Carla's got multiple votes. And D, 1946. Not that one. All right. All right. Yeah, I think Carla, I would have stuck with your first guess. 1886. 1886. Yeah. Did anybody else say 1886? I missed 1886. All right. Oh yeah, Carla got it. Oh yeah, that's right. I got a second trivia question. Where? Which country? Which country does it come from? Oh, I need to give you guys some options. Here you go. Is it from United States, Great Britain, Germany, France? Where was the dishwasher invented? Show of hands. Who says the States? Who says Britain? Germany? France? And the States. Winner. Oh yeah. We're the winners. The States. All right, so history. There were a couple of predecessor ideas, 1850, 1865. They were like these dish soakers. I'll show you guys the patent schematics too for those, right? But they weren't really like the modern dishwasher. They was just like, well, we're gonna have these dishes kind of soaking in this water, you know, maybe have a bit of motion, but they didn't really work. They didn't really take off. They weren't really effective. It was just better to clean your dishes by hand, right? But the story really comes. Here's the actual inventor of the dishwasher, Josephine Cochrane. So what's her story? Born 1839, I think it was like Ohio. She married some guy who actually went looking for gold out in the gold rush in California. They moved to Illinois. Somewhere along the way, what I was reading was it's like there's someone I think like servants washing her dishes and they were getting all chipped and she's like, my dishes are getting chipped. And so that plants the idea of like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if there was just a machine and you could just put your dishes in the machine and there's like no handling of the dishes. They don't get chipped because you don't have. This is a machine that just washes them perfectly, right? And she said, that would save a lot of time too, right? So she's kicking around this idea for I think some amount of time, and then then in 1883 her husband dies. She's in her 40s. She's left with like according to what I read, $1,500 and a bunch of debt, and. You know what? It might be a good idea to go ahead and actually move forward with this invention idea that I had for this dishwasher. Get a prototype together. I'll get a patent. So it wasn't too long before she filed this patent, and they actually granted it to her the following year. Yeah, so 1886. And if you're thinking 1886, guys, did they even have an electric grid back in 1886? No, you couldn't like plug into anything because there was no such thing as electric grid, right? There was no electric lighting or anything. Oh, whoops, I'm getting a little ahead of my story. Oops. All right, I got it here. We'll get there. So here's those two predecessor ideas. This is kind of like pre-dishwasher. So we got this. What's this called up here? The table furniture cleaning machine. Right, so there it is. So you throw a bunch of dishes in a big pot of water, and that one didn't really work. Right. 1865. Now this guy actually calls his invention the dishwasher. So it's kind of like the first one, but there's this crank to maybe get some rotary motion. But again, it didn't really work, right? It didn't spray the water, and that was the key, to spray the water, right? Now here's Josephine Cochrane's design and you can see it here. You can hand pump it, right? So we're hand pumping this, right? And it'll spray the water and it'll turn so the water sprays in all different directions, right? And that's it. That's again kind of the predecessor of the modern day dishwasher, right? That's what it is. You just spray water from all different directions, right? But of course, it had to be hand powered because there was no electric grid to hook it up to. That hadn't come around yet, right? So there it is, right? 1886. That thing. Well, I don't think that photograph's from 1886, but that's probably about what the design looked like, right? It's probably pretty close, right? And here's her original patent. Well, not all the pages, but 5 of the pages, right? So so you can see the center design, how it's going together. Yeah. So this was her idea. Yeah, this is exactly what she filed and what the patent office granted her a patent for. There. Right. Here's an updated version in 1917. She said, hey, I've got this improved design. That looks pretty much like what we've got today, doesn't it? Yeah, right there. Right. Right, so what was the societal impact? So if you think back in, like 19th century, like society back then was like really different than today, right? So people had more regimented roles. It was like a woman's role to wash the dishes, right? Right, pretty much. So this was saving them a lot of labor and a lot of time just washing the dishes. Right? In fact, the fact that society kind of relegated that role to women in particular, right, might be this some of the stuff I was reading too, might be a reason that it took so long for the dishwasher to come around. Because again, like people were kicking around this idea that nice, right? But there's this idea of what, well, if this thing was invented and it, people did buy it and did use it, then maybe that would be like taking away like valuable work that women could do. It's a different kind of thinking, right? It was a different time, right? Right. And if you look at modern day dishwashers, yeah, they'll save energy and water and time compared to washing dishes by hand, right? So I saw all these claims now with all the asterisk. That's from Energy Star. Now is that per household? I don't know. It was a little bit fuzzy when I was reading that, but at least those numbers are out there. That claim is out there. But it will save that much water, that much time, that much energy, that much money, right? Also, the fact that I think I mentioned this earlier. The fact that this water heats up to like 150 degrees Fahrenheit, 65 degrees Celsius, right? That itself can sanitize the dishes, but that's too hot to put your hands in because that would scald you. So yeah, so you get that advantage too, right? It's sanitizing just from being hot in a machine, right? Oh, and there's my sources. All right, so that was about 5 minutes, right? So that's about what I'm looking for. Can you guys use AI to help you put together a presentation about like that? So I'll give you guys the rest of today and then tomorrow and the next day to work on this with your teammates and then have you guys present on Friday.